All right, let's see if you guys can hear me. I see a red bar, but it's not huge. Hold on, let me get positioned here. Completely right with the mic in the right place. Exclamation! Nice, Will. Nice. Will's like trying to sneak in and like sneak it in before anybody sees it. That's pretty funny though. Yes, guys. Yes, he won last time. It was him. All right, so welcome to Monday Night Chart School. All right, so before we begin, I mentioned last week that we were going to mix things up as far as like different nights. So this week, we're gonna do Monday night. We're gonna do the Nadex presentation tomorrow. We will not have one tomorrow night. Most likely, I will be doing one Wednesday night, but I may actually swap that to Wednesday morning. We'll see. Thursday, I'm gonna probably try to do a Thursday morning, but I'm not 100% on that one. But then definitely Friday morning. So right now, it's obviously definitely tonight, tomorrow afternoon, and definitely Friday morning. And then I may do Wednesday night. I may bump it forward a little bit. I may go at 8. And then Thursday night, definitely won't do a Thursday night. It'll be either a Thursday morning, or we'll just skip Thursday for this week. So I set aside 200 pip chips just for nice, man. You guys are finding ways for Ernest to blow through them. I see. Look at this, man. Debbie bought 3. Wow. Wow. Telling my daughter now, but wow. That's pretty crazy. Everybody's stacking it against you, Will. Sorry. Look at that. She misses one day, and now she's like, I gotta buy extra pip chips. See how that works? Gotta buy extras. So, all right. So now we know what we're working with. All right. Oh, sorry, I was moving some things around here. All right. Overall, for Monday day, it was a pretty good Monday. A lot of trades happened in the overnight. A lot of the gaps worked from the Sunday. I was slow getting some of the gap numbers out, although most of you know the gap strategy at this point. But number of things ended up popping. Overall in the day, dollar for the most part took some pretty nice hits as far as weakness wise. I actually thought we'd get a little bit more this week. But again, Powell's speaking 3 times this week, so I have a feeling that the dollar is going to be bouncing all over the place. But overall in the day, euro up 90. Again, that thing is moving. Pound had a good day, right? Up 133 against pound dollar, and then pound yen up 160. So good day for the pound. Dollar yen and basically flat at 13. Dollar Swiss down 30. There was a great trade in the overnight off that one, triggered quite early in the morning. Got some movement on that one. Dollar CAD down another 100. Again, CAD has been moving. Definitely had some volatility in CAD, and again, I don't know. I'll have to chime off the Nadex again tomorrow and see if we can get them to throw some additional assets out there for us. Aussie dollar 142 again. That's a big move on the Aussie dollar for the day, and again, gold had some movement as well. And then euro pound only down 25. Not actually a huge movement. Again, we saw the pound strength step into that one. Drug that one down a little bit. But again, with euro strength and pound strength, again, the pound is kind of taking the cake on this one. It's just kind of what we got. As far as what we had today, obviously Fed announcement, monetary policy from the Aussie in about what? About 25 minutes. Going into tomorrow should be interesting for the pound. So we've had quite a lot of pound strength today, but we have that claim account tomorrow, which is basically their version of unemployment, and that hits at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I have a feeling that the pound is kind of setting itself up for a negative day today, or negative day tomorrow. I'm afraid that claim account is going to get a little bit funky. And then also tomorrow we have retail and core retail sales. And then right after that, Powell testify. So it's kind of like a 1-2 kind of hit tomorrow morning. Maybe a bit interesting for the dollar tomorrow as well as the overall markets. Like I said, retail sales numbers, I don't know. Forecast is they're really, really good. And then when I say really, really good, I mean, we were negative 16 last time and magically we're going up to like 8% on retail. I don't know. Everything we've seen overseas, that when everything started to open back up, the numbers were not necessarily as good, that people were still kind of doing the same things. And I guess the big question is, has everyone gone through their 1,000 rolls of toilet paper yet? Right? I mean, that's what we bought months ago. I'm sure we bought it, the next round when they were back in stock. But have they used their 1,000 rolls of toilet paper? If not, I don't know that retail sales are going to be as high. But I will say there are certain stores that are doing well. I've been at Home Depot the last couple days in a row. Still working on the deck. I got everything. I just need to do like roll the main pieces and then do the outside of the banister, and I'm good. My arm has not fallen off yet, but as you know, you guys see those jokes of the people of Walmart. They've definitely all moved over to Home Depot. I mean, I got employees wearing bandanas around their necks. There was a guy, I didn't see him, but a friend of mine that was there earlier yesterday, he said that there was a man using his hand as the mask. That was what he did. He used his hand as his mask. So obviously, yeah. If anybody out there is using their hand as a mask, then yeah, that's not how it works. So yeah. So yeah, they're all at Home Depot, just in case you guys are wondering. So the retail sales number, it could be good. But for the most part, I don't think it's going to be as high. I think that could be a potential miss, and then again, that could obviously hurt the overall stock market tomorrow. As far as what we're hearing in the news today, I can shrink this back up. Don't need to take all that much room. Actually, all right. The economy is getting better, but we maintain our GDP forecasts. Basically saying that it's getting good, but we're going to keep these. The number may be real, the economy may not be real. Talking about Powell, North Korea is going to re-enter areas disarmed in the inner Korean. It's like, okay, New Zealand data, so not really a ton up here. Looking at the biggest news, the EU and UK confirm no extension in post-Brexit transition. So this is something I mentioned yesterday in the newsletter about how, they finally mentioned extension, but now it looks like, hey, wait a second. No extension. Confirmed no extension. And what was the result? Boom, boom. So again, the market likes the pound not having this extension. The market is really excited about Brexit now. For a while, Brexit was considered bad, but now everybody's all over Brexit. We're like, yes, do it, do it, do it. And then here's Powell again. He's speaking 3 times this week, so he'll have the ability to move a lot, right? And then again, obviously Johnson is saying there's no reason we shouldn't get Brexit done in July. So I don't know. I mean, how many times have we heard that there's no reason we shouldn't get it done with Brexit in the past, and it's gotten extended? So I apologize if I don't 100% believe Johnson, but I don't know. Maybe he'll get it done this time. I don't know. As a COVID survivor, maybe he will be able to, get over the hump and get past, right? So we'll see. All right. So that's what we got going on. Again, as far as tomorrow goes, I think tomorrow could be a pretty interesting morning. Starting off super early and then diving right in. So as far as the scanner goes, the scanner's kind of interesting today. Again, we've had good movement, and it's given a lot of anchor breaks. Okay, that's a lot of reversals that were kind of unexpected, and a lot of times they continue to maintain that pressure. Because I wouldn't say there was any huge spikes today. It was all pretty, consistent kind of movement. But looking over at the majors, I mean, again, we have setups in the dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar, and Aussie dollar. Now we know what the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar are doing. They were going straight down, and then bam, the Aussie ripped off a 140 move today. So yeah, it's moving back up into those areas where we saw supply. Could there be on a retrace? Could we be down 100 tomorrow? Okay, so those are kind of some interesting setups here, knowing where we are in the curve. Look at the euro. Interesting enough, I mean, obviously the dollar was weak today. The euro was a little bit weak versus the pound. But look at this. For the most part, the euro is kind of consolidating across the board, no matter what we're talking about. So you kind of got to throw the euro down there as one of the weaker currencies. It's not really gaining much traction in anything, right? And you're seeing some anchor breaks, some consolidating on smaller time frames. Yeah, there's not really much here, regardless of the time frame you're looking at for the euro. So that's kind of interesting. Looking at this and seeing the big movement in the dollar today, I'm wondering if potentially, maybe the retail sales numbers are good. Could we see a big turn on this one tomorrow, right? Could there be a big flip? Looking at the CAD basket, CAD, interestingly enough, this one's kind of all over the board again. And I wouldn't quite classify CAD as a strong currency right now, but it's not bad. I mean, look, you're looking at an anchor break over here, right? Which, again, this versus the Aussie is a little bit different. It's more of an extreme commodity. Again, straight up, but then we switch to the dollar CAD, and it says uptrend setup, but again, it's down 100 pips today. It didn't quite hit that anchor break to the downside. And then consolidation versus the euro and the pound. Okay, so it was holding firm. So I'd put it a little bit ahead of the euro, probably on the pound as well. But interesting how we have it against the dollar. And then we have over here, again, Aussie dollar is downtrend setup, but we're approaching those areas of supply. So it's kind of like, there's a couple little small areas up here. So, that's kind of the biggest one. And will all these flip? I mean, again, anchor break against the CAD New Zealand. Those two were kind of surprised. Consolidation, again, this euro yen, it's kind of consolidating. And that wasn't as far up as the dollar, the Aussie dollar. So again, another interesting, play over here. Again, I think a lot of these two were basically what we saw today was kind of that gold story, not necessarily an Aussie story. So I'm wondering if this is all going to be flipped tomorrow, if we will be firmly negative again across the board tomorrow, in the Aussie. And then the pound's more or less split, but, again, the anchor break that we see is against the Aussie. We know why the Aussie moved today, again, gold-based. And then it's consolidation versus New Zealand and CAD. So although those are giving us a negative sentiment on those, I wouldn't quite say that they're anything too crazy. Pound dollar up 133. It's hard to say that's consolidating. It's just because we had a lot of movement before. 133 is a big day. It's over a daily ATR, so that's misleading. Then again, pound yen consolidating, sideways, upward biased. I mean, 150 up is, that's a good move. That's a good move. So I would probably put those a little bit higher. Again, now there's a confirmation on the 4-hour. So interesting look at a lot of the pound currencies right now. And like I said, talk of Brexit and kind of see how this continues. There could be some big movement out of this one as well for the rest of this week. So I'm liking what I see there. But biggest thing that stands out for me right now is really the euro and then the Aussie as far as how it's matching up versus the other pairs and kind of get a reading across the board. Pretty interesting, right? I like those. All right, so with that said, let's jump over across and dive into the first pair. Hold on, gotta hit the wrong button. All right. Right there. All right. Can't see the screen. I'm pretty sure everybody else can see the screen. Let me know, guys. Can you see the screen? I can see it. I hate the delay. The delay drives me crazy. I can see it on mine, but I have like no delay. Okay, Debbie can. Yeah, I think other people can too. I don't know. Try refreshing your browser. I'm not sure. Kind of weird. All right, so first things first, Aussie. So what I was talking about before was the Aussie being super high. You guys can see it's pulling back up again. Question is, where will it turn? Will it go all the way back up or will it turn and flip? Okay, so on a 4-hour basis, you can see we had a little bit of a zone. We ended up getting entry off that zone last week. That kicked in on the 12th, right? That was on the 12th around about 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So that was the Friday trade setup. Again, big push in, turn, flip, and push all the way back down again. For those of you guys can see it right here, we ended up getting in and just pushed away. And then we end on Friday right here, okay? So we can remove this now. Again, obviously this was from last week. It did actually cause a little bit of, a little bit of sideways movement. It popped, went sideways, and then finally burst through the top. So right now, again, we're kind of smack in the middle here. There's a bit of a zone. And again, I'm not going to mark it off crazy, but there's a zone sitting right in there. And that's, you can see that's kind of what it's butting up against right now. At this point, I'd probably wait for it to go a little bit higher. I don't really like this hourly zone up here. There's a little bit of a hiccup right here, but there's not really tons here that I like. Probably going to have to wait till it comes back up on this 4-hour, and again, this is a big zone. It's 60 pips. I wouldn't necessarily take that one, but I'd be waiting for something a little bit smaller. Even here, it's really not that great. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, there's a little position. What I'll probably do on this one, I mean, like I said, you could mark this off here and use that as a zone. It's about 45 pips, though, so it's a bit much for, what our purposes are. It's just too big, right? It's too big for that. And I don't think we can... A little zone up there. There's a small one there. It's about 9. I don't know that if I would take it off the 9. It's an interesting 15-minute zone. It's about a 10 pipper. Again, we did have a nice level of basing. It dropped in good, nice base, pop out, retest 1, retest 2, a little bit lower, and we haven't been up there since. That is sitting currently about 50 pips away, so that may be an entry. Again, if we get somewhat of a rally in the overnight, There may be something there for retail sales numbers tomorrow morning. You know, somewhere along those lines, you'd be sitting up in this range. Right now, we're sitting in the uptrend setup with the 15-minute and the hourly, so it's looking to go a little bit higher. This is not a bad area right here, okay? But it really needs to come back into this range here for any type of a long position. So the way that I'd probably play this one in the overnight is wait for it to come, again, we're in the middle. Wait for it to come up or go down, and then look for retail sales to bounce off one of these two zones tomorrow. Okay, they're 30-minute zones, so you know they're not the strongest of zones. But again, they're still valid. We're kind of sitting in the middle. There may be nice little pops off of that one. Interesting, though, if this thing moves and crashes through this, we are only about 28 pips. It could definitely go down. You could also use this level down here as a secondary level. And actually, you could probably use that as your level if you want. It's about 15 pips. You could use either of these two levels for news. So this one, I do believe, will have a possibility of crashing through it. At London Open, it depends how much movement we have from now to the London Open. We may need to use this lower one here. But this one is probably okay for news in the morning. Probably said it's probably what I'm going to do on that one. There, and there. All right? You get those three zones out. Looking at pound or euro Aussie. Aussie yen. I was like, I'll get it out. So you guys can see Aussie yen, this one was not quite as high. You know, we were not pushing all the way up. Again, decent, but there's definitely price space above it. On the 4 hour, we are getting close to an area, which is not a horrible area. It did push up, and again, you did have a green, red, green higher, and then it got turned around in this wick against the wall, and it had a nice push down, okay? Had a really nice push down, and here's kind of what it looks like on the lower time frame. And you can see, again, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, a little bit above, and it continued to remain healthy to the downside. This zone is about 40 pips, so it's a little bit on the bigger side. One thing that you could do with it is you could use it off of this zone right here, okay? That zone right there is a lot smaller. It's about 26 pips. This area has been pushed, so again, on a more aggressive level, it could take off before we get there, but I think that zone up top is probably the safe bet. Again, worst case scenario, it turns and flips. You don't get in the position. Oh, well, you know, no harm, no foul. But I think that's probably the better entry on this one. Would be down here around 75.40. Looking to drop that down about 40 pips to the downside. So again, rather small. You're looking at, what did you say it was? It's tiny. Well, it's about 25 pips, right? About 25 pips. So yeah, not a horrible position. I think that's probably the best one. And again, that could be a news-based move. If it turns and flips here, I'd be kind of surprised. It's going off kind of a weird area. I mean, yeah, it's descending, but it's not really the best. I wouldn't quite say it's an explosive movement. Yeah, I feel like it's going back to grab more orders. I feel like it's gonna continue its progress. If it turns and flips there, I'd be really surprised because that's not really a turning-based area. It's not a very strong formation. But you never know. You never know. But if price comes up to 75.40, we're looking to get this thing short and then take it back off at 40 or what, 74.60-ish range. About 50, 60 pips to the downside. Okay. All right. Going across euro yen. So euro yen, you can see on a 30-minute, we just came back up again. So this is a level we talked about. God, we've talked about this level a few times at this point. Whoops. Okay. It's about 75% away to target. True. By the way, here was the 30-minute gap if you guys missed it. I think this one's going to need to continue down. Now, there are sellers sitting down approximately in this area. Again, we had a bit of a gap down and then a continued pressure up. So, it's past the 1 to 3. I think this one will continue. Quick. There's an interesting setup here. This one looks like it's going to complete. But here's an interesting setup on this one as well. Those lines. Okay. Seeing this continue to push farther and farther. Again, the entry on this one would be a little bit of a break below 121.38. And your 1 to 3 is in a great location. Your 1 to 5 is actually not a horrible location either. So, Yeah, that's not a bad little short if this thing continues through. And again, set it up as a Harry Potter, wait for it to break through, pull back, and then kind of retrace to the downside. All right, so not a bad one there as well. And again, Euro Yen kind of coincides with what we were also seeing inside of the Aussie Yen, which would mean we'd probably also see it here. Now you guys can see this one as well. We had a little bit of an entry here. The zone was actually a little bit bigger. This one kind of marked a bit high. And there was your entry coming in. You can see we just kind of tagged it and is now pushing down. And it's actually past the 1 to 3 at this point. This is a trade that we had set up earlier. I think this was drawn. Yeah, it's drawn off the 15. Right, drawn off to 15. Looking to really kind of snag this. The 30 was just a bit much. It's 12 on here, but originally it was up at about 24, 25. So again, I used the 15-minute on this one. And depending on your spread, you may or may not have gotten in. And again, you can see that we are, officially you're out. Okay, you would not be in the position right now. This one also, I feel, will continue to push to the downside. I think this one, target-wise, will probably hiccup in this area. We got about 30 pips before we get to that area. This one is not as clean to the downside. So I do like it, like these two, pushing to the downside. But this one's not as clean. There's definitely an area here that's only about 20 pips below. I think it's going to give us a little bit more of a problem. It's not a clean of a drop on this case. But again, in the overnight off this level, take this one short. And again, I think at this point we got about another 30 pips to run on this one as well. Looking at the pound dollar. You guys can see pound dollar is in an hourly zone right now. Oops. There's kind of your setup. Your 1 to 3 is actually in a fine location. This one got blew through last week. This was that crazy, that crazy run, right? The crazy run. Oh, you know what? I don't have my. Let me put my. Or my. God, I gotta start knockouts. They need to change it back just because I can't get it right. Let me grab these numbers real quick so we can throw these on there and see what we have. Let's go to knockouts, forex. All right, what do we got here? We got 1.2564. We have 1.2514. I got 1.2464. Got 1.2414. Okay. I hate the yellow. That will go there. There we go. And I missed one. All right, there we go. So, there's a bit of a zone here, the 126.64, which is right above this zone by about 8 or 9 pips. Again, right now it's about 40 pips away, so it's a bit far right now from its peak. It was about 16 pips. So there was a zone in there. There was one that, again, I could risk 20 on that one. Wouldn't be a bad push back to the downside. It's probably a bit too expensive right now, but again, not a bad push. Things that I'd be looking for later in the week on this one. This guy down here, this the 24.64, that's kind of about 60% of the way through this bottom zone. That may be an interesting one to look at later in the week. Yeah, 24.64. Yeah, it's that one. That would be knockout number 6. That could be an interesting one later on the week to watch out for. But right now in the overnight, again, short, same as what we have in the pound yen and the other positions kind of versus the dollar and the U.S. market. All right, so that one's already in a position on the hourly. Euro pound. So here's a euro pound, one of the positions that we marked off last week. Again, this one is completed. We ended up getting target out, and the second time it ended up breaking through. Here's that double zone again. I'm going to continue this across because that's where the original zone actually started. This one's continuing to push. Now, it's flirting with the wicks down here, so, this may be a small bounce area off of it. I think really what we need to do is we need for price to come down a bit lower. I actually do like this one. I think this gives us some interesting opportunity. The reason why is because, again, with the pound numbers, right? Tomorrow morning we have this claimant count number, right? And this is the claimant is basically it's unemployment. It's their unemployment number. You can see last time how far of a miss they were. It was forecast as 645 and they came in much, much higher. If that happens again, we're going to have that pound weakness in this one, which again would cause euro strength, which would again pop us right off of this one. So this is an interesting entry for news tomorrow morning that I have on my radar. It comes in about 89.54. Your risk on this one total is about 7-8 pips. If you take it with the full zone, it's about 10, which would give you this area of basing that's been tested. I think either of those two kind of makes some sense tomorrow morning for this pair. All right. Oh, for 18? Nice, Ernest. That's nice. You got it on 18. Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was a nice little grab. It's too far now, but yeah, for 18 bucks, anything under 20, you were good on that one. So yeah, great grab at 18. Looking at dollar US. So again, we keep talking about this kind of reversal situation. We're kind of there now on this one as well. Now this zone is about 16, so it's not horrible. Let me update the knockouts on this one because these are last week's knockouts. I didn't update these on this platform. So let's see. 112.43, 111.93, 111.43, 110.93. All right, let's do the same thing. Let's change the colors here. Dodger blue is fine. We'll change this one here, and then we'll change there. There we go. All right. So where we are right now, interesting position. Okay, this is about a 10 pip risk on this. This would be knockout number 1343. Knockout number 3. So knockout number 3 currently right now would be popped right here. Right? It would be this guy. Right? This one right here. 1343, and it looks like you can get into this one for approximately about 13 bucks risk. Okay, about $13 worth of risk on that one. That's not a bad little short position, right? Again, we got 3 days till expiration. If it turns on us, you're losing 13 pips. This one ideally can come much lower than that. Right, your 1 to 3, just a little on the side, but your 1 to 5 is actually not horrible here. And again, this basing it may pop, it may grab some of the orders right on the other side of this. But again, that's trading. You know, ideally we'd like it in this zone better. But again, we got our red and we got our green. We got a bit of a red. It's not lower. It's more consolidating going sideways. But it does match up with some of the other positions that we saw that there could be more weakness stepping into the markets. Interesting one. Interesting. Again, 13 pips risk. Again, it is basing. Let's see on the lower time frame. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a zone there. Again, it's pushing lower. Yeah, so, yeah, that could be an interesting little position, right? Not horrible. Not horrible at all. It's like, so I have 2 different monitors, but when I make things really big on one, it always gets messed up. All right. Yeah, so this one you're good. We're fine on this one. Dollar CAD. So, as you guys can see, so I went, this one I did a little bit of pre-stop on. So, down on the 15-minute, you can see we just did bounce off a 15-minute zone. It's kind of interesting. And again, I was looking to see where this one could stop, and that's where I came up with that zone. You can see it on the 30-minute. It's not a bad zone. What I was looking for was how deep it drove in the zone, if we're going to get any basing above what the candle formation was, and if we were going to see it continue to push lower. Okay. Now, it does match some of the other pairs where looks like we have some dollar strength coming back into the market. But, and I say but, I was looking at this and saying, hey, listen, how much, this is already pushed to the very, very brink. If price, if the dollar does not turn, does this make sense? And again, looking over here, looking to the left here, I'll put a horizontal line to make it a little easier for you guys to see, right? It's hitting right above where perfect is for us. So, this is what I was kind of thinking here. If price is able to break through this level, again, if we do not get the dollar strength that a couple other pairs are kind of stacked up for, this is kind of what I was looking for in the overnight. Something along these lines. Looking for this as a profit target. And again, remember, it's got to break the zone and then pull back and then, tag the zone again. If it comes straight down, it's just one of those things where it would have been nice, but, we didn't get the entry on it. Be something along these lines right here. There. Okay, something along those lines. And again, if you wanted to put a secondary target in, I do think it will have a little bit of a problem. But I don't think, this wouldn't be... something along those lines. All right. Again, the secondary line, if you look across here, it's coming just below. So if it's able to break through that zone, I do think it will go a bit lower. But again, that also requires that we do not get the dollar strength that you're seeing over here, right? Doesn't work that way. All right, so that would be dollar CAD. Dollar yen. So dollar yen, we've had the zone marked off top. Let me get the new knockouts for this one as well. So it looks like we have a 106.88. Looks like we have a 106.38. We have a 105.88, and we have a 105.38. Go. Let's go knockouts. Let's change the yellow out, and we'll go here. Midnight, dark, purple. Go. All right. So, obviously, much sideways movement. Okay, over the last 24 hours, we can see that this position has only moved 4 pips. We do have a little bit of a zone up here. We've marked this zone off on the larger time frame. Comes in at 107.72. We just happen to have a knockout bracket at the just a few pips over on the other side, over at 107.88. So less than 15 pips away. So for me, okay, I am good with that zone if we can get price to come back up in this level, right? If we can get price to come up to there, again, be looking for a short. If we can coincide it tomorrow morning with retail sales, even better, okay? Even better. And that would be knockout. That would be knockout number 4. Knockout number 4. Okay. So that one is set for tomorrow. Again, I love that zone. I think that zone is great. Nice basing. Drop, based, dropped again. Hasn't really retested, but it did base right below that zone. So I'm happy with that. If we get back up to there, we got about 40 pips. So again, this could be a retail sales trade tomorrow morning, or again, if retail pops it in, this could be a PAL turn flip back to the downside for the dollar yen. Dollar CAD. I'm sorry, dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss, this was the trade that I posted inside the forums earlier today. Oops, I don't want to use that color, but you guys, here, you know what? I'll just delete it. Do it this way. This was the trade that Ernest and I were talking about, if you guys were part of that. Okay, I love the turn here. It came up and literally kind of went away from it. There was the entry. You can see it came much below the 1 to 5. Actually, I think it can go a little bit lower as well. Let me update the touch brackets here. Okay, what do we got? 9,445. The birds are on. I guess the birds like that other trade. We got this one there. Got 93.45 and got 92.95. All right, let's do this one as well. That on me drives me crazy. Oh no, I didn't want brown. Yes, guys. What do you want? There we go. There's a knockout up there, but it's a little bit close. So, all right, so here's the thing. So we already know that the zone above, right, had sellers in it. Here is kind of the newly formed zone, and there's a touch bracket in the right place, but the question is, this reacted off this zone up top. So it's kind of like a little bit iffy using that kind of new, more aggressive zone. Besides that, there's nothing close. Everything else is so far away at this point. There's none of the other touch bracket. Now, I don't know what it is with this one. And again, we have what? 96.50? 96.95? Yeah, they're set correctly. The pricing on the dollar Swiss it just never comes out anywhere nice. I feel like this one I feel like they're missing the boat on this one pretty bad. Now again, the daily ATR is 76, which is higher than normal, but I just feel like when you're comparing it to other pairs, I just feel like this one is not priced correctly. And I don't check it, but I feel like I should look at the numbers. I feel like I should look at the numbers and see how many people are actually trading the dollar. So I feel like the dollar CAD or the Aussie dollar will be so much better of a knockout bracket. I'll have to bring that up. Ernest, remember when I told you about the dollar yen a few weeks ago that I just really didn't like it? Now do you understand why? It's annoying. It's getting to me. It's getting to me. Aussie yen been great. Euro yen, that one's made a turnaround. Dollar yen, boring. Gotten hugely boring. All right, so NQ. So here was a position we had on last week that we were looking for a reversal. It ended up going through and then collapsing right past the profit target. So kind of one of those things. I wanted to leave it up there to show you that, hey, listen, here's that failure to go higher. It got to a 2-to-1. It ended up hitting a basing level before punching higher and then collapsed all the way through anyway. So again, this is why it's important to make sure that we have ourselves in good positions. One of the benefits of a binary in this case is you would not have gotten stopped out. So gotta stop. I'm going to use up all my air here. So again, I'm going to take this one off now. Again, had you traded this through futures, you were out. Otherwise, you were good. So we're approaching the zone up top. Okay, last time price was up in this zone. And again, remember my numbers are going to be off by approximately 6, right? This is actually a pretty good, decent zone, right? Price ground down, pop, came up again. Guys, stop. Made another attempt and then absolutely collapsed through the floor. Okay, so not a bad zone. There was a little bit of a pullback here. Stop. I think they like the air. I keep shooting them with one of like the electronic dust things, and I think they like it is the problem. But again, not a bad little position up here up top. Again, these numbers are going to be off, but I like where this one is going, right? A little bit of basing here, not concerned about it. Nice push off of this pullback. So again, your 1 to 3 is sitting approximately down here. Your entry is approximately, again, go to your 30-minute, find your exact numbers, but 99.23 and 97.87 is not a bad little spot. Now they've been put to sleep. All right, it doesn't work. My in-laws bird, you put a sheet like over the side, you like tells him it's nighttime. He's like out. He doesn't make any more noise. It's like amazing. These two were like, hey, I can see through the side. I can see that you're out there, and they're just trolling me tonight. All right. So again, NQ coming up to an area. You guys can see too on a daily basis, it is much higher than what we see somewhere else. And you can see on the 4-hour, that level is actually sitting right inside of this drop. Right, we had this push down, base. And then huge pop to the downside. That's actually what we're running into right now. Right? Try spraying Lysol. I'm telling you, I don't know what their problem is tonight. You know what? I'll put the baby's funny. The baby doesn't like the monkey. It's not a monkey, it's an orangutan. So she has this like play thing that actually was the boy's toy, but like we pulled it back out because I had saved everything. And it has like a penguin and a tiger and a hippo and all these things. You could like put it on like, it makes noise when you like push on it like a specific cap. There's an orangutan. She doesn't like the orangutan, but the birds don't like it either. So I don't know what it is with orangutans, but yeah, she's not an orangutan fan. But anyway, guys, NQ is pushing back up in that same basing level. I think that'll be a good level, giving us a good potential. Now, going into retail sales could be bad. That could be where the flip is. We could see it moving in the overnight higher. Once we get up into this basing level, that could be a flip. And again, big movement today. I mean, Powell could say something as well, too, tomorrow. Again, when he testifies, that literally turns and flips us down. Question is, will we hold this in the overnight, or will we flirt with this zone a little bit higher with the NQ? Okay. S&P, here's a zone that we talked about last week. Again, we're approaching that as well. If you continue that across right there, you can see that's exactly where we're at right now. Kind of the same picture. Now, again, we're not super high. It's a lower level, a little bit of a base. Huge push away, has not been tested, and that's what we're running into right now. So this one has the potential to flip in the overnight as well. Again, we marked this off last week. Whether it's good, whether it's not good, I don't know. Like I said, this pair has been kind of funky. Like I said, there's no reason why that this one wouldn't have the same movement that the NQ does. Obviously, it's not as much technology based, but it tends to be, just overall, it tends to be better companies, I think. And again, the technology story, I think, is kind of I think the technology story is basically over at this point. Hold on 1 second. My wife just messaged me. Hold on. So this is a potential flip. Where actually, let me pull it up real quick. Let me see. I want to pull. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up on a different platform real quick. I dislike charting on Nadex. Can't go any farther back on the Nadex contracts on the chart over there. Trading view. Full featured chart. Come on. Come on. Not really. It's gonna be funkier. Here, I'll show. I'll bring it in. Here's another thing that I was looking at earlier. You guys see what we have going on right here, down on the 30-minute candle. I was looking at this that coincides with that level as well. Okay, so there was a few different things in looking at this one and kind of researching it. Be like, are we gonna have that flip? Are we gonna have that turn? And there was a few different things that I was able to find on different time frames on different platforms that all kind of had something similar, where we had kind of a turn, like a flipping based area for the S&P. So I don't know if it's going to hold the overnight. That's the big question that I have on this one, is whether or not we're going to get the turn on the flip here. But again, this is the hourly. The end with this was a 30 minutes. On the 4 hour, we're seeing kind of flipping areas as well. So we're seeing kind of much of the same sides for some type of flip. All right, for S&P. But again, finding the entry for it, I think, is going to be the big question. And again, it's not the smallest zone. We're talking about 30. Again, remember, these numbers are slightly off, but 3105 to 3118. So, it's not necessarily a day trading size level of risk in this one. Actually, let me check real quick. Maybe I can grab, since we're kind of like right there right now, let me see what we get a binary for. See how much is jacked into the binaries for this one. S&P. Yeah, right now there's like there's a 30-42, so it would require about a 40-point drop for about $25 worth of risk. That would bring it back down to approximately down here, the 1 to 5 level. So it's a little bit far for the binary. I don't know. I don't know if, retail sales and PAL maybe ought to move it. Let's see. Hold on. Buying. No, it's not giving me. So he's testifying in a semi-annual monetary policy report for the Senate Banking Committee. That's hard, because I'll tell you right now, if depending on what flavor of the week it is, because he's in front of the Senate could ask questions about stimulus and how much stimulus is needed. And again, if you mention stimulus, that tends to be good for the economy, right? It's gonna jack gold up probably, but again, whenever you're talking in front of the Senate, they need votes, and people love free money. So there may be some talk of some stimulus tomorrow. So maybe that this could be a flip in the other direction. But in the overnight, I think again, we're probably pushing the downside a bit. Looking at the Dow, kind of the same idea. This is something we had marked last week. We mentioned last week kind of getting either high or low, right? Last Friday morning. And you guys can see we came down and graced right along the top of that right here. It actually, you wouldn't have got the entry, but it ended up coming down right to the bottom and before it bounced and actually continued to press lower. So now we're kind of back up to the opposite side, right? We had kind of matched these two sides. And again, if I continue this level across, you guys can see it right there. kind of the same idea, same principle. We've rallied back up to it. This was a zone last week that gave us a pullback, the drop, the base, the pullback, and then it just slammed to the downside. So same idea, pulling up into that zone. Again, the bottom zone held from last week before driving higher and the week ended. And then obviously I'm telling you, they like the duster. They're loving the wind. But yeah, I think that, again, kind of the same setup. I think we could have a turn and a flip back to the downside. All right. Gold. So gold was a big turner. Okay. I think, yeah, there was a bit of a level here that we had marked last week. Although when we talked about this, I said that I didn't like this zone. It was too much wick. And then here was the actual zone, right, that we were focused on. Okay. It literally pushed deep into the bottom of that zone. Oh, I can't handle this green. Hold on. White. Right there. Okay. That was the original zone that I said actually caused this big bounce anyway. So this is kind of where we're sitting right now. We've pushed deep into the zone. As much as I would like to say, hey, listen, let's just refine this and say, okay, yeah, that's good. Let's just take this all the way across to there. Because again, we had nice movement off of there. I'm not sure this zone is going to hold as well because the original zone that formulated right under the D, it drove to the very, very point, the very, very brink, and actually matched the very, very bottom of this candle. So a little bit of an interesting situation. Now, top side, again, we have this zone marked off on the top. I'll just delete it so we can kind of do analysis on it again. Whoops. Let's leave that one there. So this is interesting because here's the 4-hour zone. Right up there. I like the zone. Okay. What I don't like about it is this candle. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. This candle right here. Let me zoom in. This wick right here. Look at this wick. It went all the way to the brink, and then we put a lower wick in. So I think there's definitely been something psychological about the 1740 area, but it's been hit a few times. It's been pushed to the brink. Sellers stepped in and saved it here. But again, this next hit up on there is going to be technically hit number 4. Because here was 1. Here was 2. I did not think that this would hold. And this would be number 4. So, although that would be the more aggressive entry, I think at this point we need to go a bit higher and look up here into the 17 kind of 50-ish range. Now, we're a bit of ways away from there right now. The ECN data is bringing us in at 1727. Approximately 20 pips from where, this entry would be. As I mentioned, if Powell tomorrow is testifying in Senate and they ask him about how much stimulus they see going forward or what type of stimulus packages could they put forward, again, the market's going to like the S word. Okay, the stimulus word is a great word for the overall markets. Stimulus means more money, right? Stimulus means more money. That means more inflation. That means gold's going back up again because there'll be more demand for gold. So, I think that's probably the safer play of the two sides. We had marked off a level here on the hourly, and you can see, again, that's this zone that it came back into. I just really don't feel that this zone's going to hold again. So, beyond that, this is a crap zone. This is way too big of a zone. Downside-wise, there's just not as much out there right now. Maybe this one, and that one's okay. It's all right. I rated it maybe a B. But below that, there's really just not much. So, I feel at this point, we always try to see, hey, what's the easiest for it to do? I think this level getting broken is probably the next kind of obstacle to overcome, and then looking to get short up here around this 1750 range. And again, that would be this 4-hour zone of here. Okay, downside wise, it depends when we get down here. I may even consider something along these lines, right? Using this zone as kind of a Harry Potter. It's been pushed to the brink already. It actually, over here on this drawing, went slightly below. Look for a break of that zone, pull back up, and look at this 1 to 3. Going to the left. Look at this. Low, low, lower. So are there still buyers here? There's probably some, but they come in beyond what the 3 to 1 is, or the 1 to 3 is. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is, a potential for the downside if we continue to crash. But like I said, they mentioned the S word tomorrow. It's off to the races. It's off to the races with this one. Now looking at silver. Silver's similar. Again, on the 30-minute here, You guys can see the price is currently right here around 1733. There's a little bit of a zone, and this is actually not a bad zone. It's been tested, but I would have traded it more off of these descending wicks right here. It would have been more of an entry like this. Okay, and again, one wick, a pullback, again, wick, lower wick, and you can see it came up and tested, and that was kind of the takeoff point last week. I think that zone's probably worth one more shot. It only went about 20% of the way in. It based and tried to pull back up again. The only fear is it gets front run with this darker zone, but I do feel that this could be an interesting level, right? That could be an interesting level right there. Okay, pushing the downside. 1 to 3 right now is in a good spot. The 1 to 5 probably not so much. It's probably a little bit deep. But that's what we got going. And that zone would be up at approximately 1750-ish range. All right. So, again, that would be silver. Now, oil, let me bring in this guy. All right. So, oil is actually inside of a short position right now. It's kind of pulling back a little bit using that same yellow zone we had before. And again, if you guys remember this yellow zone, this was the Harry Potter, the breakthrough, the retrace down, the retest up, and pushed, right? It's gotten close to getting an entry on there before, but it just missed it. We ran out on Friday. Again, the opposite side is hit. And you guys can see the opposite side hit again, right? All the way back up. Over here. And that's based off of this level. You know, this guy you could have continued across. Actually, I guess I have to do another one. That on. Nope, not that one. Long. There was number 2. And that was this morning. Okay. That pushed it back up again. So we're about halfway through the short right now. We're getting a lot of kind of basing back and forth between this 37.27 and 34 range. It is a little bit early in the week, but so far these two sides have held pretty well. I do like how this one was unable to go much farther, that it hit and kind of popped. So there is another buying level. You can kind of reduce your risk just slightly here. Actually, sorry, that one is. And this one should have. Should I move it? There we go. All right. In the overnight, this one also looks like it wants to continue to push down, which would kind of make sense with the dollar getting kind of beat around a bit. There is one little basing level I want to point out here, right around the $36 mark. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's right in here. You can see it at this level, you know, looking back right here. I think that may give us a little bit of a bounce. It may mess up this short right now. By just a little bit. It may cause a little bit of a bounce and then a push through. But I do think by tomorrow, this will push back down towards the 35.24 range. Let me check the numbers on this one. All right, the KOs are at, here, I'll just draw the lines for the KOs now. So it looks like we have KOs starting at bottom side. We have 33. We have 4. We have 35. And we have 36. So it looks like that's bottom side. And it looks like none of them are matching up off of that zone. So it doesn't look like we're going to have too much there. Let's see what we got top side. We start at 38, which, and so they're all a little bit far. So it looks like 38, 9, 40, and 41. So I don't really love any of these knockouts, and none of them really match our sideways trending. I don't really like any of these. These are all kind of junk. So it looks like we're doing binaries and call spreads for the rest of the week, or just taking this directly in the future opportunity. So in the overnight, we'll see if we can break through this level. If we do, look for this to go from 36 down to the 35 range. I think that's where we'll have some buyers stepping into the markets. And again, probably take a bounce and push back up again tomorrow. Like I said, with the retail sales number, that has the potential to move this a little bit. Also, obviously, Powell speaking, giving his semi-annual projections. Again, there obviously he could definitely bring up oil. Oil was a big thing a couple months ago. And if he's doing semi-annually, he's going to have to talk about it, which could, again, give a little bit of credence to this one as well about inventory levels and, stabilizing the price of oil. So, again, which would also probably give us a boost to the top side. So, here's two. Let's see if we can get it to come back down. Take this long again, back down here approximately at 34.75-ish range, and look for longs. All right. All right, so that was the last of the pairs. Let's go across and go ahead and do the drawing for tonight. How to sedate the birds. Noise. Elements. Let's connect fetch. All right, so we got 7 people in. We got 14 tickets. So the average is 2 per person. You guys can see that Will is stacking them here. Will won last night, so if Will wins again tonight, he would be our first double winner in a row. And that would also give Will an extra 100 pip chips. Okay. Debbie's got 3, which we never see Debbie get 3. So I'm wondering if Debbie is calling her shot, is pulling a wealth builder on us. Coming in at the last minute, be like, yep, I'm taking this. Ernest, we knew was going to throw some tickets down. He's going to make Will sweat it for a little bit. What I will do is I will give us 1 more minute. When this hits 60, time will elapse, because again, I know there's a delay. When it hits 60, I'll go ahead and close the contest down. So we will see if anybody else wants to chime in. Will's thinking about adding more, because Ernest added more. Ernest did that on purpose. He's like, you did it to me, Will. You did it to me. This is karma. This is paybacks. Like an arms race, right? So 45 seconds, and I will go ahead and close it down. Who we missing? We got Josh in here. James is not here tonight, I see. James is not here. We got Will in. Marina, Dabby, Sham. Q's in. Gallows in. Got 30 seconds. 30 seconds to go, guys. Will's over here like, nobody put in. Nobody else put in. Nobody else put in. Nobody else put in. Nobody else put in. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. Here we go. I said I would do it right at the same time. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait, so Will's got like a calculated risk? Will's using math. All right, so we'll see if Will can go ahead and get this one. All right, so here we go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and draw the winner. We'll see if Will's calculated risk is going to take it. Okay. Winner of tonight's drawing is... Wow. Wow, he gets the first one. Wow. All right, so Will's got something figured out. Now you guys are going to have to break down what is Will doing. Will's like, nah, I don't need any more tickets. You guys see that? Look at that. Copy that. Nah, I don't need any more tickets. Hold on. We're gonna copy this right now. Right here. Look at this. This. Calculated risk. Where is it? Where is it? Look at this. This has got to be the way to do it. Got to be the way to do it. Copy this. So Wealth Builder came in, called his shots. Will's like, nah, calculated risk. I got this. And look at that. Bam. He wins it. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So he gets 125 pip chips tonight. That's 125. Whew. Look at that. Almost broke 2K again. Man, go Will. Congratulations. We made that rule in January, and it took 6 months before we had a double winner, which is crazy because we used to have double winners like, once a month, twice a month. And that was the first one. I can't believe it. Finally, finally, finally. So, Ernest's like, that's it. I can't believe it. Crazy, crazy stuff. All right, guys. So with that being said, I will catch you guys. Don't forget, tomorrow we will not have a chart school tomorrow night. I actually have lacrosse practice and something to do right afterwards. So the only one that will be on tomorrow will be the one at noon for Nadex. I will go ahead and broadcast it on the channel, so make sure you catch that. And then we will be back probably Wednesday night. But again, I'll give you guys the updated. I may try to, if I can get up, I may try to do, or if the baby's cooperating, I may try to do one on Wednesday morning for you guys. All right. So you guys take care, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for coming tonight.